first step of the cake is the ganache, or if you like, the icing. That's going to go on the top. We're going to get that made first because it needs to cool down, and because if it's too hot it's going to run all over the cake and you'll have a mess everywhere. So let me show you that one first. We're going to add 225 grams of just chocolate pieces. Now I've put the saucepan on the scales and I've cleared it to 0. I'm going to add 225 grams of chocolate. Once you've got the chocolate in the pot, make sure that your scales are on 0 again, and then we want 165 mils or 165 grams of just double cream. We're going to pour that in. Now what's going to happen here is the chocolate's going to melt. We'll just get it up to 165, that'll be it. 165 of whipping cream, and we've got our chocolate, 225 grams of chocolate. We're going to put this onto the stove now. We're going to melt this on a slow heat so it doesn't burn. Now at this stage, when you put the cream and the chocolate together, don't put it on a high heat, because if you do burn it, you'll destroy it. So come over here and we'll have a look and see what's going on in the pot. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just stirring that around. You really don't want it on a high heat. Chocolate will burn very quickly, and sometimes if you just heat the cream up first and then add the chocolate, you get a better result. But look, I'm taking it off the heat. As you can see, it's starting to, there's enough heat there to just melt the chocolate. So that's all I want to do. That's all I'm looking for, that nice consistency. Alright, there you have it. It's just got to the stage where the cream is combined with the chocolate and it's nice and smooth. Okay, so we've made our icing. The next stage now is actually putting the cake together, and it's going to be a similar situation. All we're going to need is one pot. We're going to put it on the stove and we're going to boil everything together. Just heat things down and away we go. Okay, into a pot we're going to add 600 mils of water. And this is for the actual cake itself. I'm going to break up some chocolate, and we need 350 grams of chocolate pieces. And I'm just using the standard cooking chocolate. It's quite high in cocoa, so it's going to give us a nice flavour. I'm just going to break those up, and don't be too fussy with it because it's going to melt anyway. And we're going to need 225 grams of butter. Now I'm using unsalted butter, and here there's quite a bit of butter there, so 225 grams of unsalted butter. Pop that in. All we're going to do now is put it on the stove and let it melt. Add the other ingredients. So here we go. In a heavy based saucepan, I've got the ingredients as we spoke about. I've got 350 grams of dark chocolate pieces, 225 grams of butter, 600 mils of water, and to this now I'm going to add 400 grams of caster sugar. Now this is the beauty of this cake, is you can throw everything in. There's no mixing bowls involved, and we're just going to mix this around. Okay, so now all we need to do is add our eggs. This recipe only uses 3 eggs, so what I'm going to do is crack them in one at a time. Okay. Now this mix is still a little bit hot, but it's going to go into the oven anyway. So there's a second egg in. How easy is this? Alright, get another one in there. And I'm using free range eggs. Doesn't matter, you can use other eggs if you want to. Flour straight in. 400 grams. And then you just mix this in. So basically all we've got here is the water, the chocolate and the butter and the sugar, and you throw all of that in together. Let it cool down slightly. Mix the flour in. You can see the few lumps in there, but it's already starting to look like a batter, like a chocolate batter. And that's it. All we need to do is get it in our oven now. You can put it on a food mixer and blend it if you want to. But look, I just find that by the time it settles in, that's the consistency of it. Look at that. It's just a batter. Now I'm going to get the tin ready. We'll pour it in the tin and get it in the oven. Okay, so we've got the chocolate mix. It's actually still a little bit warm. Now, the size of the tin is really important. I'm pouring all of this mixture into a 9-inch round tin, or 23 centimetre tin. Okay, get all of that out of there. You can use a spatula to get the rest out. Get it all in there. Don't forget, 140 degrees. I'm using a fan forced oven. 140 degrees. If you're using a standard oven, just drop it down a few degrees. You probably want to cook it on about 135. Nice and slow, and it can take between 45 up to an hour to cook in the oven. Now you will notice there is a little bit of cracking around the cake. It does happen from time to time depending on your oven, but the chocolate ganache is going to fill all that anyway. It's quite a lot. Just keep going down the sides. Now I have put a wire rack here so that the chocolate can just drip down, and it's going to set. You just follow the cake all the way around. Don't worry about making too much of a mess. If you want to let this chocolate set a little bit more, it is a lot easier to put on. You still get that shine. Okay, I'm just going to make something to go with the chocolate cake. All I'm adding is a couple of spoons, 2 spoons of creme fraiche. And I want just enough powdered sugar, just to sweeten it, not too much. A little bit of lemon zest. And just a little bit of lemon juice.